What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid coming at you with another Destiny video. Today we're going to talk about Bungie and Destiny and balance patches, and we're pretty much just going to ramble a little bit. We've got a few things that we want to touch on, and it's all about the Crucible today. So Bungie ended up putting out there this week at Bungie, and they were talking about a balance patch that's going to be coming to Destiny in just a couple weeks. I'm just going to assume mid-February. That's where we can go ahead and start planning. We don't have a definitive date yet, but we can assume the middle of February. And what I want to do is I want to talk about a few things, because a lot of times whenever people are expecting patches and notes and updates to the game, sometimes those expectations are slightly unrealistic. I know. Believe it or not, sometimes people have unrealistic expectations. So I just want to go ahead and talk about some of my personal opinions on what I think we might be seeing. And again, these are just opinions. There is absolutely nothing yet concrete or in fact from Bungie. So take these with a grain of salt. And of course, I want to hear your opinions below. I want to hear your opinions on what you're expecting, what you think we might be seeing in the game as we get the next balance patch update. Because it's not only going to be a weapon balance, but also a character balance. So I want to talk about just a few things. They made 5 bullet points as far as goals for this patch, and I want to talk about 3 of them. So number 1 on the list, and I don't know if this is higher priority or highest priority, or if this is just them listing things out and this just happened to be number 1, but number 1 on the list is they want to promote counters and alternatives to shotguns. So yes, shotguns, the things people love, the things people hate. It's because shotguns are very well suited to the 6v6 game mode, and they're very well suited to Destiny. Nobody ever thinks about that, but Destiny is all about movement and jumping and double jumping, and with a lot of movement, that means that you can go ahead and get in close and close the distances with shotguns. That's one reason why shotguns are so popular. They're effective, and they're just catered well to Destiny. So, Bungie wants to take a look at shotguns again. But thankfully, the one thing that they didn't write is that shotguns were going to be tweaked themselves. That's a really good thing. Shotguns have received a lot of nerfs in Destiny, and yes, some of those were probably warranted. Back in the day, they had some long-range potential for one-hit kills, some really long-range potential. Now, that is significantly lessened. It is a complete nerf to where you can actually get a legit one-hit kill with the shotgun. And that's okay. We're fine with that. We've all adapted. We all know basically the range where we can go ahead and get one-hit kills. But things that were maybe over nerfs to shotguns were reducing your movement speed and some of those frame delays whenever you swap to shotguns or come out of running, stuff like that, or coming out of your blink. Those type of things I think maybe were just a little bit overkill, but I'm not going to ask or beg for those to come back into the game. I'm just saying, don't nerf the gun anymore. But what I'm all for is counters to shotguns. And let's just say this right now. That's not a sniper rifle. A sniper rifle is not a counter to a shotgun. It's simply not. They are completely different weapons operating in completely different modes. Just because you've got shotguns, you shouldn't counter a shotgun with a sniper. That's just not the way to do it. Nobody should be at that far of a range where you're facing a shotgun versus a sniper, like I was kind of doing as I was running down the hallway. I wasn't going to be countered by a sniper because there's no way a shotgun would have been the right tool to even go up against a sniper. So snipers are not shotgun counters. And because of that, what I'm hoping this means is that we might see the rise of sidearms. Yes, sidearms are actually shotgun counters. The problem is, sidearms take way too many shots to end up killing. They take way too many shots to kill, and they really kind of run through their special ammo. With a sniper rifle, with a shotgun, with a fusion rifle, it's one shot, one kill. With a sidearm, definitely not. Definitely not. And even trying to get the maximum shots or perfect shots to kill is extremely difficult with a sidearm, and you don't see that very often. So what I'm hoping is maybe we're going to see a tweak to sidearm, because we don't often see sidearm tweaks in the game. We often see sidearms left alone, or any of the changes that we do see aren't really helping at all. So I'm hoping we start seeing a rise of sidearms, because I would love to use sidearms, and they are a definitive counter to shotguns. Similarly, we have fusion rifles. Fusion rifles are definitely another counter to shotguns because you can start hitting a shotgun user who's coming in at you from mid-range, and that can definitely counter them. Not exactly sure what they might do to fusion rifles because fusion rifles are in a pretty solid spot right now. You actually see them in the Crucible, and they're in a pretty solid spot. So that's why I'm kind of leaning back towards sidearms. They're the only thing that's kind of the black sheep of the special weapon genre. So my guess is that we're going to see something definite with sidearms. That's my guess. So if I was you, I'd keep my eye peeled just in case I see an awesome sidearm drop for me in the next couple weeks. Because you never know, one of those might become really OP and really amazing to go ahead and start playing Destiny within the Crucible. You never know. Moving on from that, they're also talking about primary weapons. Now yes, maybe primary weapons will also be another counter to shotguns. They might be, because if primary weapons become stronger, then maybe you can go ahead and engage more from mid-ranges and stop people from rushing in. That's a possibility. The one thing I want to keep people's eyes out for is they talk about aligning potency of primary weapons with surgical changes. So whenever they say surgical changes, to me, I don't know if that means actual gutting the primaries and taking things from scratch, or if it means really minute changes, like the 0.04% auto rifle buff. Remember that? Whenever that Doctrine type got buffed by 0.04%, after everybody had a huge outrage, Bungie came back and they showed math saying that, well, even though you're not seeing this on the screen, it is internally affecting the time to kill. In that precision, that's kind of the stuff that I'm thinking that we might be on the look for with primary weapons. I know that's not what people want to hear. I know that is definitely not what people want to hear, but that's what I'm thinking. So I imagine if those things end up happening, that again, the forums are going to go crazy. Everybody's going to flip out because things really didn't seem like they received any buff, but I'm just trying to prepare you. If surgical changes just mean some precision tweaks, then be prepared. You're not going to see a whole lot of crazy buffs to there. Though I do think things definitely need a buff. Definitely need a buff. Everybody talks about Bloom-on hand cannons and stuff, and that's fine. That's fine. People can talk about that. It's a legit thing. But I want to just let people know that auto rifles are in a far worse place than hand cannons right now. We might end up doing a video on this at some point, but auto rifles right now are just crazy. They're so much more difficult to use than hand cannons. Hand cannons are so much more forgiving overall, with such quicker time to kills than auto rifles. Again, this whole thing probably needs to go into a new video, but let's just say and hope that auto rifles again receive a buff that they definitely deserve. Holy crap, there's just a problem with auto rifles whenever you need to get 10 to 13 critical hits in order to have time to kills that equal the same things as hand cannons. It's craziness, and it's simply impossible to get the best time to kills with auto rifles. You simply can't do it in the Crucible. So I'm hoping that we see an auto rifle buff, and of course we've got those slow firing high impact auto rifles that are completely useless. And then everybody of course is going to talk about the Clever Dragon and the pulse rifles and the slow firing pulse rifles, how those are extremely difficult to go ahead and use. So there are definitely things that people are hoping for and on the lookout for with primary weapons, and I hope that people become happy with whatever the changes are. I hope they get enough changes that makes them happy. Obviously, there's going to be a new dominant weapon type whenever this comes out. Something else is going to come out and be extremely OP. In fact, if there are no changes to a scout rifle, then chances are the Mida is going to be a really strong and solid option. Again, Mida is a very bland and boring weapon, but whenever other things get changed and nerfed, Mida ends up shining because nothing really changes with the Mida. It's just a really solid option. So if we receive some nerfs to other classes, watch out, Mida might become really strong yet again. And finally, Bungie's final point has me definitely concerned. They talk about supporting adjustments to special ammunition. So whenever I first read this, I was thinking, alright, awesome, we're going to finally see the PvE, PvP weapon ammo split. And that is definitely something that's needed, that's something that everybody's been clamoring for. But I'm not exactly sure if that's what that's going to be. I'm not exactly sure. Because of what they're talking about there. They're not talking about special ammo adjustments. They're talking about trying to provide supporting information that they're going to use to support whatever they do with special ammo. And that makes me think that maybe we're going to see another special ammo nerf. Man, I hope not. I hope not. Whenever I go and look back at old footage of the Crucible, I see special ammo dropped all over the place. And yes, special ammo is still prevalent, but it is nowhere near as prevalent as it used to be. I just personally don't want to see another weapon type taken out of the game. We already know that heavy ammo and heavy weapons are pretty much useless in PvP, pretty much useless. We see those once a match and that's it. I don't want to see the same thing with special weapons. I want to play with all of my guns more. So I'm hoping that this is something that's going to buff us in PvE and not really worry or affect us in PvP. God knows that we're playing a shooter game, it's nice to have ammo in PvE. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts. I would definitely like to hear your thoughts and what you're expecting to happen. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your balance, and I'll see you around in Destiny. #Sidearm Meta.